My name is Jason Collier. I'm 38, a senior project manager at a tech firm based out of Portland, Oregon. I used to believe that suspicion had no place in a loving marriage. That trust, built brick by brick over years, was sacred. But that belief shattered the moment I hired a private investigator and learned the truth. This is the story of how everything I thought I knew about my wife, Melissa, unraveled. The seed of doubt. Melissa and I had been married for 11 years. We had met in college. She was an art history major, always with paint on her fingers, and I was the uptight engineering student with no fashion sense and zero chill. Somehow it worked. Opposites attracted. And for a long time, I thought we were solid. We bought a house together in the suburbs, built a life filled with routines, movie nights, Sunday brunches, holiday road trips. No kids yet, though we had tried. That had taken a toll, especially on Melissa. I could see it in her eyes, the quiet longing, the guilt she never admitted. Still, we pressed on. But something changed about a year ago. It was subtle at first, late nights at her gallery with new exhibits. That never seemed to end. A new friend, Claire from the Arts Council, who I never met. Melissa started taking more care with her appearance, even on ordinary days. Her phone was suddenly always on silent, and she began locking her screen every time I walked by. I asked her about it once. She smiled too quickly, laughed off, and said, "You're being paranoid, Jace." Maybe I was, or maybe I wasn't. I didn't go looking for a private investigator immediately. That wasn't me. I'm the guy who makes spreadsheets to decide what kind of coffee machine to buy. But when someone you love starts feeling like a stranger in your own home, you either confront it, or you ignore it until it devours you. So I did something I never thought I would. I reached out to a PI firm discreetly listed on a Reddit thread about infidelity. I went with someone named Eli Hartman, a former cop turned investigator. His voice was gravelly, his tone measured, and in 20 minutes, he asked more questions about my marriage than I had asked myself in months. He said, "Give me a week. No promises, but I'll get you answers." And then I waited. Exactly 8 days later, I met Eli at a small diner off the 405. He slid into the booth across from me, a manila envelope in hand, and didn't say a word at first. Just sipped his coffee and gave me that look. You know the look. The one people give when they're about to tell you your life's about to split in two. Then he slid the envelope toward me. Inside, photos, dozens of them, time-stamped, locations tagged. There was Melissa. At first, it was just her sitting in a car, then entering a hotel, then leaving with a man, the same man every time. In one photo, he had his hand on the small of her back, another, them kissing in a corner booth at a bar I didn't recognize. A third, her smiling, radiant, laughing in a way I hadn't seen her do in years. Not with me. His name was Daniel Price, an art collector from Seattle. He had started visiting her gallery 6 months ago. According to Eli, they had been meeting regularly, every Thursday, sometimes in town, sometimes in Seattle. Melissa had a second phone. She'd used it to text Daniel. Eli pulled up records, burner number, registered to no one, but linked to a Bluetooth device in her car. There were texts, explicit ones, love notes, promises, plans for the future. When are you going to tell him? Soon. I just need the right moment. I couldn't breathe. I didn't confront her that night, or the next. I carried the truth like a tumor in my chest, heavy and malignant. Melissa still smiled at me, still kissed me goodnight, still called me babe, like everything was normal. But it wasn't. Not anymore. I started noticing things I hadn't before. How quickly she turned her head when her phone buzzed. The way she avoided eye contact when I talked about the future. And worst of all, how distant our bed had become. There was a space between us now, an invisible canyon neither of us dared cross. On the third night, I took the photos and laid them on the kitchen table. I sat there, waiting until she came home. When she walked in, she saw them. Her face went white. She didn't deny it, didn't cry, didn't even beg. She just said, "I was going to tell you." What followed was a 3-hour conversation that felt like surgery, without anesthesia. Melissa told me everything. About Daniel. About how she felt invisible after the fertility treatments failed. About how she started questioning her identity, her passion, her place in our life. She said, I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't go looking for him. But it happened. I asked, do you love him? She hesitated. That hesitation said more than words ever could. Then she whispered, I don't know. I moved out 2 days later. I rented a small one-bedroom downtown, surrounded by empty pizza boxes and the echo of silence. Melissa sent a few texts. I didn't respond. Eventually, she sent one final message. I'm sorry. I never stopped loving you. I just stopped feeling seen. And maybe that's the worst part. She wasn't a monster. She wasn't evil. She was lost. And I didn't see it until it was too late. Where I am now, it's been 5 months. The divorce is almost final. I still see Eli sometimes. Turns out we both like the same crappy diner. We talk. He listens more than he speaks. But the man knows pain when he sees it. I've started therapy. I'm slowly rebuilding. Some days, I still check my phone, expecting a message from her. Other days, I feel relief like I've stepped out of a lie. But the truth remains. I hired a private investigator, and what he showed me changed everything. And yet, maybe it saved me too, because sometimes the truth, as ugly as it is, sets you free. 5 months after the divorce papers were filed, I thought the story was over. But life, messy, unpredictable, cruelly ironic life, had other plans. A familiar number. It was a rainy Tuesday in late October when Melissa texted me again. I had just gotten home from work. I had stopped expecting anything from her. But there it was, her name lighting up my screen like a ghost I hadn't buried properly. Melissa, Jason, can we talk? Just once. Please. I stared at the message. My first instinct was to delete it, block her number, and move on like I'd trained myself to, but curiosity, or maybe closure, got the better of me. I replied with a single word. Why? A few minutes later. Melissa, because there's something you need to know. It's not about us. It's about him. That froze me. Daniel. We met at Laurel Hills Park. Neutral ground. Public. No risk of emotions exploding behind closed doors. She looked thinner, paler, like someone who hadn't slept well in weeks. But she still wore that necklace I gave her on our 5th anniversary, the one with the tiny compass. It was the only jewelry she never took off. We sat on a bench beneath the trees. She got straight to it. Daniel lied to me. I said nothing. He told me he was divorced. He wasn't. Not even close. He has a wife, 2 kids, a mortgage, the whole thing. She looked up at me, eyes glassy. I found out 2 weeks ago. She showed up at my gallery, said she'd been watching us for months. I blinked. He was doing to me what I did to you, she whispered. Cheating on his wife with someone too blind and desperate to see the truth. She exhaled like it hurt. He never planned to leave her. It was all fantasy, all lies. Nothing unexpected. I should have felt vindicated, triumphant even, but I didn't. What I saw in front of me wasn't the woman who broke my heart, but someone equally shattered, a mirror of my former self, sitting in grief and disbelief. I guess I deserved it, she said, almost to herself. I shook my head. No one deserves that. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it. We sat there in silence for a while. Why did you really come here, Mel? I asked finally. She hesitated. Because I needed you to know I was wrong. Not just for cheating, but for letting you go without fighting for what we had. She turned toward me. You were always the better one between us. I stared down at my hands. No, I just wasn't the one who got lost first. A new beginning, but not the one you think. Over the next few weeks, we talked more. No confessions of love. No promises of reconciliation. Just honesty. We talked about how we fell apart. The infertility. The silence. The assumption that our love could survive on autopilot. She started therapy. So did I. We realized something painful and true. We had stopped being partners long before Daniel came into the picture. He was just the symptom, not the cause. And while some people take that realization and try to rebuild, we didn't. We chose something else. Not to get back together, but to stop carrying each other like ghosts in our bones. It's been over a year now since Eli handed me that envelope. I've moved into a new place, still in Portland, but closer to the river. I started painting again. Nothing serious, but enough to remind myself that creation is a way out of destruction. Melissa moved to Seattle. She opened a small private gallery space and teaches art classes on weekends. We email occasionally. Friendly, cordial. Every so often when I'm walking downtown, I think about the life we almost had, the kids we didn't get to raise, the holidays we won't share, the history that didn't make it. And I don't feel bitterness anymore, just perspective, closing words. If you're reading this because you're wondering whether to hire that private investigator or whether your instincts are right, listen to them. But know this, the truth won't just break things open. It'll break you. And sometimes that's the beginning you didn't know you needed. Because when the lies fall away and the truth has scorched everything, what's left behind is real. And that's where healing begins.